Some of the most interesting Pokemon in the franchise are the ones that can't evolve. Typically, these Pokemon are very gimmicky in nature. They'll have entire abilities and moves just based around them. Some Pokemon that can evolve are actually really solid, and they could definitely hold their own against fully evolved Pokemon. But more often than not, they are so bad. And so today I will be using a full team with some of the worst Pokemon that cannot evolve. For the record, I'm not including Paradox Pokemon, Legendaries, or Mythical Pokemon because they felt like cheating if I included them. Oh, and also, if you're expecting me to use Luvdisc on this team, well, you're wrong, because I actually put in a lot of work with a Luvdisc in a previous video recently, and I will be damned if I include it on a team like this, even though it really should have been on this team. Special thank you to Silly Cereal for coming up with this team idea. If you have an idea for a Pokemon team, be sure to comment below, and I will use it. Without further ado, let's get right into the battles. Good morning, afternoon, and evening, lovely people. Today I am using some of the worst Pokemon that can evolve, or the worst single stage Pokemon, I guess. Now this team had a lot of really bad Pokemon in it, of course, and the team I'm facing is really scary looking. I'm gonna talk over the team builder rather than the initial battle like I usually used to do. I just thought it would be better to do it that way. And hey, if you enjoy this kind of content, then please feel free to subscribe. I would really appreciate it, and I use bad Pokemon like this all the time. So, my opponent is gonna go ahead and lead off with the Raging Bolt, and I have a Squawkabilly, which I'm really afraid of this Raging Bolt having like Thunderclap. I'm running a Choice Scarf Final Gambit lead Squawkabilly, so if they Thunderclap, that would obviously ruin my my Final Gambit, and Raging Bolt has more HP than me anyway, so I opted to go for the Parting Shot. They don't go for the Thunderclap, so I'm gonna switch in my my Dedenne. I had to include at least a Pikachu clone on this team, and I just opted to pick Dedenne because Dedenne is bad. So they're gonna go for the Volt Switch. It does a lot of damage, and they're gonna bring in their low kicks. Now this Pokemon was a huge pain for me. So bringing in my Tropius. Now this Pokemon is defensive. It's also probably like one of the best Pokemon on this team, which is really saying a lot because this is a Tropius. And out of every Pokemon on this team, I feel like Tropius should be the one that evolves the most. It has the highest likelihood of evolving. It just feels incomplete. So low kicks terrestrializes into a bug type, does some really huge damage to me. I'm running a Keyberry Harvest set on this. This is a Calm Mind Tropius as well. And so after that damage, I was thinking that this low kicks was definitely like Choice Banded, and after they swapped out, that basically confirmed it. So I was like, okay, well that's nice. I'm gonna be able to at least check the low kicks whenever it goes for its Choice Banded first impressions, but wow, my team really doesn't deal with that Pokemon very well. So Magnezone comes in. I opted to stay in and go for the Synthesis again in case they decided to go for the Volt Switch versus me. But wow, the Thunderbolt did a lot of damage to me. Now the Magnezone actually swaps out back into the low kicks, which is terrible for me because I swap into my Seviper, and Seviper, even though I resist this, obviously low kicks has Tinted Lens, and yeah, that just absolutely wallops me. Wait, how is Seviper even making it on this team? It's supposed to evolve from Arbok. Anyway, I'm gonna bring in my my Squawkabilly, and I'm gonna try to force a KO on whatever they bring in. I'm thinking that they might bring in their Corviknight because obviously that could resist my flying and normal moves. So as the Corviknight comes in, I'm like, okay, this is perfect because I went for the Final Gambit this turn, and that does some huge damage to Corviknight. Doesn't take it out, unfortunately, but getting some really good damage on this defensive wall was always really important. So I'm going to bring in my Lapras. I actually have enough speed to outspeed Corviknight without speed, so I thought it was a really good Pokemon to bring in. And they swap in Gastrodon on the Freeze Dry. I was like, oh, that's really good. They probably expected me to go for like a water move that turn. So Lapras is really unfortunate because like it's very slow, and its offenses aren't really that high. I always thought its special attack was like higher than it is, but its special attack is the same as its attack. And like as a Dragon Dance Pokemon, spoken against Dragon Dance, it doesn't really hit super hard as well. You need like multiple Dragon Dances in order to get it like fast, and it has such a bad defensive typing, so Lapras definitely has a lot of flaws to it. Now, this is a really interesting Lapras set though. The Magnezone attempts to Volt Switch, but I have Terra Ground, Terra Blast on this Lapras set. I have some amazing coverage on this. This has I have Freeze Dry, I have Alluring Voice, I have Terra Ground, Terra Blast, which is able to just one-shot the Magnezone, thank goodness. And Lokix is going to be able to come back in, and this Pokemon is going to easily be able to claim a KO versus me. They do go for the U-turn, which was what I was fearing, which is why I brung in my Dedenne. I also didn't really find much value in it anymore, so yeah, there goes my Dedenne. But the good thing about this matchup is that the Lokix is going to be able to U-turn, and I'm going to get momentum on whatever they bring in. So they're going to bring in the Raging Bolt. I'm just going to swap in my Lapras. I was thinking that this Raging Bolt might be Choice Specs, seeing the damage they did on my Dedenne in like the first turn. They actually missed a Draco Meteor though, so I'm able to go for the Terra Blast ground on this thing. It does like around half, which is really good. Now they are going to be able to drop a Draco on me. It does land, but Lapras' natural bulk is going to allow me to tank that hit, which is really great, because as I hit this Raging Bolt with the Terra Blast ground, it's going to be able to two-shot it. So I was like, okay, that's really good. Raging Bolt is such a scary Pokemon to deal with, so I'm glad to get rid of that. So Lokix comes back in, and at this point I was like, okay, it's really tough for me to like switch into this Pokemon, because I really find value in like my Tropius, obviously, and my Delibird. But like, there were so many Pokemon that I was worried about, like the Blaziken especially, and this Corviknight. Now my Tropius could not outspeed this Corviknight, and I really didn't have much for it either, and I didn't want this Pokemon going for the roost. So my only hope was this Delibird, which thankfully was able to take out the Corviknight thanks to Hustle, even though I'm running an Acrobatic set on this. Now, I'm going to go for the Endure this turn. This is a Salac Berry Delibird. I was hoping that the Lokix would go for the first impression, but they opt to go for the U-turn, which of course would always take me out because Delibird has like no defenses whatsoever. But it is going to allow me to eat my Salac Berry. Now this set is Endure. I have Acrobatics, of course, so after consuming my Salac Berry, Acrobatics gets doubled in base power. I have Reversal, which works really well on 1 HP. And the last move I have on this is Destiny Bond, just in case there's a Pokemon that I'm facing that I can't get, I can't faint because of Reversal or Acrobatics. I can go for the Destiny Bond and go 1-for-1. Unfortunately, I missed my attack because of freaking Hustle, but Gastrodon thankfully just sets up the Stealth Rock. Of course, that's gonna chip away at my Tropius because I'm not running heavy duty boots on my Tropius. I'm Keyberry, like I mentioned. So I was like, okay, well, I'm able to get off a Reversal on this Gastrodon. Thank goodness that's easily going to be able to take it out. But Lokix is going to come back in. Now, this was the point of the battle where things were a little weird, because obviously I always had to endure versus this Lokix, because if they went for first impression, then I could be able to attack them on the next turn, because first impression only works on the first turn. But I can't go for Acrobatics as they go for the U-turn, because if they go for first impression, that obviously takes out my Delibird, and like my Tropius is not going to be able to beat the Blaziken. Now the Blaziken does reveal that it's Air Balloon, so it's not Focus Sash. I actually go for the Destiny Bond, anticipating the Blaziken to maybe protect, so that it could force itself to maybe switch out in case they don't want to attack me, because I could easily KO this with Acrobatics. So at this point, I'm going for Endures on the turn that Lokix like comes in, and Destiny Bond on the turn that Blaziken comes in. It doesn't look like the Blaziken has Protect though. It might be like Swords Dance with like 3 attacks, which is good. So I'm gonna go for another Endure. Something that you didn't see in this battle was that I actually took a while to go for Endure on the previous turn. So I think that might have influenced their decision to go for first impression instead of U-turn, because maybe they thought I would over predict. So that was actually really good, because I was able to go for the Acrobatics as Blaziken comes in. So I was like, oh my gosh, please do not miss. And I don't miss, and Blaziken is gonna get taken out, and the last Pokemon is the Lokix. And Lokix cannot lock itself into one move in order to win, because they can't go for first impression because I have Endure strats, and they can't go for U-turn because I could just outspeed and go for the Destiny Bond on the next turn. So that's the end of that first game. A really interesting battle. I can't even believe that Delibird helped me get back into that one. That was an insane game. Now, of course, that's going to lead us into game number 2. And I will say, if you're enjoying this video, please consider hitting the like button. I would really appreciate it if more people saw these videos. And this team is versus an Evolution team, which is always a joy to face. So let's see how this battle goes. For the record, I don't think I'll ever use an Evolution team, by the way. So anyway, my opponent's going to leave with Vaporeon. I, of course, am always going to leave my my Scarf Final Gambit Squawkabilly. I had to include at least one Gen 9 Pokemon, and Squawkabilly it might be the worst one that can evolve. It might be the worst one, period. So I'm going to get off a lot of damage with the final Gambit versus this Vaporeon. It's very, very annoying to deal with, much like a lot of the Pokemon on their team. So I was able to get off like a huge chunk of damage on it. And I'm going to bring in my Dedenne here. Now this Dedenne is it's a really interesting set. I have a Parabolic Charge, Charge Beam, Dazzling Gleam, and Nuzzle. So Nuzzle, obviously, of course, it paralyzes the opponent. Charge Beam is so that I can get more special attack boosts, which I do get off on the Glaceon coming in. As I hit it with the Dazzling Gleam, though, they hit me with the freaking Miracle, which I was not expecting at all. So unfortunately, my Dedenne just gets absolutely wasted there. So I'm going to bring in my Seviper here. I'm telling you, Seviper is so bad. It is, like, it's one of those Pokemon that's, like, disappointingly bad, too, because it's so slow. And, like, the set I have of this is a Swords Dance, Gunk Shot knockoff Trailblaze set with, Shed Skin. So, the Glaceon Terrassalizes, they probably expected me to go for the Poison move, and if they went for a Poison move, if I went for a Poison move and, like, I didn't KO, I was definitely getting hit by, like, a Terra Blast Ground or something, and I would have been so embarrassed by that. I would have thrown my Switch out the window. So, the Umbreon comes in. I absolutely love facing this Pokemon. So, Foul Play is going to hit me really, really hard. I have a Citrus Berry on this Seviper as well. So, I thought, okay, well, I want to get this Umbreon as weakened as I possibly can. Unfortunately, Gunk Shot misses. And the Umbreon is, of course, going to be Moonlight as its recovery move. It was either going to be Moonlight or Wish. So, seeing that it was Moonlight was definitely a nuisance. Also, I missed my second Gunk Shot, so now I don't even get any chip damage on this thing. So, thank you, Seviper, for letting me down once again. So my Seviper gets taken out. I'm going to bring in my my Delibird here. Now, at this point, I was kind of hoping that the Umbreon would just immediately go for the Foul Play, maybe thinking that I was, like, Focus Sash or something. But they go for the Toxic versus me, which is unfortunate. Obviously, if Delibird comes in, you're immediately gonna suspect, like, shenanigans from this Pokemon. Like, more often than not, if Delibird is used, it's like Focus Sash with, like, spikes or something. It gets really great utility moves, actually. The thing about this team is that even though these are some really bad Pokemon, they do at least have some positive traits. I think I could say that about any Pokemon, really. So, Lapras is gonna come in on this Espeon. I'm definitely expecting, like, a special move so that I could tank a hit, but it ends up being dual screens, which is really bad. So I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna go for the Sparkling Aria here. That's the last move on this Lapras set that I had. And unfortunately, this Espeon also has Power Gem, which hits me super effectively. I was like, shoot, I really can't do much of this either, because Espeon has some okay, well, it's gonna be okay under the screens as well. So I'm barely able to take that Power Gem, and I'm gonna go for another Freeze Dry against the Espeon, and I'm able to freeze it. I guess that's why it's called Freeze Dry. So that's really good. I'm able to freeze the Espeon, and they're gonna actually end up swapping into their Sylveon here. So I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna continuously go for freeze dries. I was actually very lucky to get the freeze on the Espeon. So at this point, I was like, well, I want to sacrifice my Delibird. I'm not sure what this Sylveon is gonna do to me, but I want to scout what it's gonna go for. So they end up being a Quick Attack and their Life Orb as well. So I was like, okay, well, maybe it's like a fully physical Sylveon. I'm not sure, but I actually do end up taking the second Quick Attack, which is great because that's actually gonna put me in Salac Berry range, and I'm gonna be able to chip this Sylveon with a lot of damage from my Acrobatics. Well, it was like a decent chunk at least. So I'm gonna get taken out by the poison damage, but I thought, okay, well, this is fine. I actually have my Tropius, which could be able to tank a hit. My Lapras is on a very low amount of health. I'm just gonna be a Quick Attack fodder here. So the thing about this Tropius is that I also have a lot of speed on this. Well, not a lot of speed, but I have enough speed to outspeed Sylveon if they're not running speed investment, which they don't seem to be. And they go for the Hyper Beam, and I'm just able to take that. Oh my gosh, my investment in speed actually allowed me to get off a Calm Mind before it could Hyper Beam me. So I am down 2-5 at this point. I really need to get back into this game. And what a Pokemon to help me get back into this game than Tropius of all things. So is it pronounced Tropius or is it Tropius? I'm not sure, because Trop could be like tropic, but it could also be trope because of like trope. I'm not sure. Anyway, so I'm going to Terrassalize into the poison type. This prevents me from getting toxic poisoned by the Umbreon. My eyes are watering like crazy. What is going on? Anyway, I'm going to go for the Calm Mind this turn. I'm also going to be able to resist this Sylveon's, resist this thing's Hyper Beam. and also simultaneously I can get off a Calm Mind in front of this thing as well. So the Hyper Beam is going to be resisted, does way less damage than it initially did, and as it goes for the recharge turn, I'm going to be able to set up another Calm Mind in front of this. So now I'm at +3 special attack and special defense, and I can't be poisoned. I'm looking like I'm in a really good position right now. So the Sylveon is going to go for the quick attack, get some chip on me, obviously because they anticipate they're going to faint next turn, and that is actually going to activate my Key Berry, which is nice. So they're going to take some Life Orb chip, and I am going to go for the Giga Drain and take out the Sylveon. So I was like, okay, that's really good. That's one of their really hard hitters out of the way, and like the Espeon is poisoned, so I should be able to tank like a Psychic from it if it like decides to de-thaw. But they go Leafeon first, so I was like, okay, well, the Leafeon is going to opt to set up a Swords Dance. I was assuming that this Pokemon really didn't have like much coverage versus me, so as I go for the Synthesis, I was like, okay, well, this is a perfect opportunity for me to basically get my health all the way up almost full, so I can take a hit from the Espeon. And the Leafeon decides to Swords Dance again, so I was like, okay, they really want to hit me hard. Maybe they don't expect me to have a flying move, but of course, I have Air Slash on this set. This is, it's Calm Mind, Giga Drain, Air Slash, Synthesis. It's, once it gets going, it gets really, really bulky, and with Harvest and the Key Berry, I could increasingly get boosts to my defense, and also, my special defense will be boosted because of Calm Mind, and also Terrestrialization definitely makes this a lot more accomplishable than like using Tropius' horrible grass flying typing. So Vaporeon comes back in. I'm gonna set up another Calm Mind. I'm gonna need a lot of Calm Minds in order for me to deal with the Umbreon, which is very, very bulky. I assume it's very specially defensive. So as Vaporeon comes in, they're gonna get some leftovers recovery, and I thought I should be able to absolutely get rid of this with the Giga Drain, and I'm gonna be able to outspeed them and get rid of it with the Giga Drain. I just said that. So that's going to recover my health all the way up to full, and Vaporeon gets taken out. I am whittling down their entire team with this Tropius. Thank goodness. So Espeon does not de-thaw. I should be able to tank a Psychic move from this thing anyway. Whether it was Psychic or Psyshock, I'm going to be able to also just Giga Drain it. And, oh, I get 1 HP recovery. I wasn't at full HP. Sorry for lying. And Espeon gets taken out. And the last Pokemon is the Umbreon. And if this Umbreon only has Foul Play and Toxic, it really can't do much to me at all. I could just set up Calm Minds in front of this thing, and thankfully, they do end up acknowledging the fact that they can't win the matchup. Thank goodness, because obviously Umbreon was never winning that matchup, and that was an honorable forfeit, I would say. Like, forfeiting is not always like a bad like indicator or anything. Like, oh my god, they salty rage quit. Like, it's not always like that. Anyway, that's the end of both games. Thank you all so much for watching. My name is SkyLaaa. Don't forget to smile, and I will see you all next time.